that's just how it is. Okay, now, oh no. Okay, don't worry, but I am seeing the threads of fate sort of tie themselves to you. That is the precursor to death. See, you should have come a little bit earlier, but don't worry, this has happened before. What I am going to have to do then is I am going to have to snip the threads of fate. Now, this might remove some potential futures for you, but those futures might, it's a numbers game, right? I might remove some potential future where you like cure cancer. However, I also remove the future in which you die. So, it's sort of it's a balancing act, right? To achieve the selfish desire of living forever, you do need to give up on the selflessness of discovery and helping humankind. Hello, welcome. I hear that someone is trying to run away, someone's trying to hide, and I can totally help you. Yes, of course. I understand that it is your birthday. Yeah, I know. And don't worry. Death doesn't know where we are. Death, has been struggling these past few months, and I personally think that we do a very good job of hiding people. Okay, yeah, you don't really understand what's happening. Of course, it's your first time here. You just reached a certain age. Okay, so it is your birthday. Happy birthday. But you kind of, you don't really want to have a big celebration, because as we all know, if you celebrate your birthday, then you are inviting death. You're letting them know that, hey, I'm reaching that age. So what we gotta do is we need to take the stink off of you, the stink of old age. We need to take that off of you. We need to fix you up, make sure that you stay hidden from death, while also giving you a little bit of a celebration, right? So we're secretly going to be celebrating your birthday and hiding you away from death, okay? All right, now, we do get a lot of people who come in through here, so I am going to need to take some information. This part can be a little boring, but I find that it's pretty important, because every person tends to have a very different, they have different pheromones, different stinks in regards to like what gives them away as being old, right? And we want to make sure that you're not very, very old. You don't give off that old vibe, right? So I just have here just like some basic information, right? So first of all, what is your name? Okay, already off to a bad start. That is an old name. You can't be walking around with that kind of name. Do you have a nickname of any kind that we could potentially use? Okay, that could work. It's at least a bit more ambiguous, so we can just do that. Okay, next, what is your actual age? No lying. Okay. I somehow doubt that's your real age. Can you elaborate? And tell me a little bit more. Okay. So you were actually born 20 years earlier. You just were lying to me. I could tell. Don't worry. We're experts at this. Okay. And can you give me your exact date of birth? Like the day and month is more what I'm concerned about. I know the year. Okay. Okay. Perfect. That's pretty good. So, you came here at a good time. I would say that a lot of people end up coming a bit too late, and the stink is really ingrained within them at that point. And there's only so much that we can do, right? So you need to sort of be running away from death much sooner than you would expect, right? This sort of business, maybe to give you a little bit of backstory, like this business that we have is it ensures that you live to at least the triple digits. After that point, it gets a little bit more difficult, but we are able to at least get you there. And we've existed for a very long time, since at least the Middle Ages. However, during the Middle Ages, it was a little bit difficult because people were really, really the methods were different, I would say. I would say the methods were different. Their ways of scaring off death was more violent, perhaps a little bit more, what's the word? Rudimentary, maybe. So, that's a little bit about us, and I imagine that you're eager to get started. So I won't keep you waiting for too long, okay? So I have here sort of our welcome packet, the things that we need to get started with, right? So first of all, I'm going to start off with, I have a little bag here for you. This has items in it that you would typically get during a birthday party. I'm not going to tell you what they are, lest he is listening. However, I want you to keep this with you and to only look into it once it is past your birthday, okay? Just because it is your birthday now doesn't mean that you can't feel the celebration on other days, right? And I know it's not particularly as effective the next few days. Celebrating your birthday on your birthday does tend to mean that your spirit is then lifted and your magical energy is then improved and you become a much better witch and wizard. However, what's the point of being a better witch or wizard if you're dead, right? If death has come for you. So keep this by your side and only look into it once it is past today. Wonderful stuff in there. Really, really wonderful stuff in there. So I'm just going to put that down for you. Okay. Next, what we're going to have to do is I'm just sort of noticing. This is a huge pack of Q-tips for you. I'm not going to do it for you, but the idea of gift giving on the birthday, it's sort of evolved into a particular kinds of gifts that either like entertainment or is sort of frivolous. They're sort of frivolous gifts. This is a very boring gift, right? No one would give this to you if it was your birthday, right? So this not only does this remove sort of some of the scent that I'm picking up off of you, but I'm also noticing that you are letting yourself go a little bit. I'm noticing the earwax. I am noticing it. And, Q-tips, they're said not to be great. But they're not great for your ears, apparently. But I would say that's more of a, and you don't want to provide too much of, you want to ride the line is what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to say is that because you are trying to ride the line, you don't want to seem too young, because who would believe that? Look at you. But you also don't want to seem too old, right? So you want to give off the vibe that you're still on top of things, right? You still have things together. And if you still have things together, then you certainly can't be that old, right? So this is for you. I am expecting you to be doing it while we're continuing talking here, okay? So just make sure you get this and keep it with you, okay? So I'm just going to put this down over here. Great. Okay, perfect. So, as I was saying, we want to make sure that you don't give off the stink of being an old person. You really want to ride that line, right? So, what we need to do is we're going to have to trim a little bit of the things that are growing a bit too much, right? Like I was saying before, if death is going to come after you, they're going to find your they're going to look for like those large ears, right? They're going to look for the like huge face. They're going to look for the sort of the aspects, the organs that have been like growing forever and ever and ever, right? So we just need to make sure that a few of these things, and your nails, right? That's also one thing that So there is an aspect of this, right? Nails constantly grow, but we already trimmed them pretty heavily. But if you grow out your nails and take care of them, then that actually gives off a even smaller, you're even younger, right? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to do a few things, right? We're going to deal with your nails, your ears, your nose, your mouth, whatever it is. I mean, your mouth doesn't really grow, but we also want to make sure that you don't give off old person mouth, right? So we're just going to have to deal with that, right? So I do have here my handy little kit. You know, you want to get the stink off, right? This is how to get the stink off. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is the nails, right? We're just going to cut those a little bit shorter because I noticed you are getting up there in age, and so your nails are getting sort of a little bit crusty. You know, you're not really taking care of them, and you are a little bit, it's giving old. It's giving a little old, right? So we're just going to go in and we're just going to, okay, just give me your hand. Yep. There's no shame here. There is no shame. You know, why there is no shame here? Because death also has no shame. You must have no shame to stay away from death. Okay, so come on. Okay, and okay. Okay, great. Okay, you're doing a wonderful job. Yeah, see, what we're going for, the most accurate approach for a young person's nails is either to go super fabulous, bejeweled, but unfortunately you didn't really pick that package when you came in. And so we're not really doing that. Instead, we're going with the rough and tumble approach, right? This is another kind of youth that they bite their cuticles, they chew off their nails. You know, they haven't really grown out of the concept of taking care of their own fingers, right? They haven't grown into the concept of taking care of their own fingers. So we're trying to give you that look, right? So as I'm cutting here, as I'm getting your nails, what I am doing is I am getting a little bit of skin in there. It does wonders to throw off death, you know? Yeah, and actually, it's pretty interesting because people who end up having certain body parts who bleed every month, blood tends to tends to ward off death, funnily enough, right? Because you'd think that death would want to go for like where blood is, but death has a little bit of a phobia for blood, you know? He doesn't like it. Instead, what he does is if he sort of catches a whiff of blood that for someone he needs to go to, instead who does he send? He sends, you know, decay. He sends disease. He sends famine. He sends whatever, his subordinates to go in and grab the person as opposed to himself, because he doesn't want to deal with blood. No, when he comes in, he's coming in for like the people who are old age, right? That's why this is. You see, it's all making sense now. It's all making sense. Okay, and okay, now other hand. Okay, perfect. Yeah, see, look, it looks horrible. Just like any young person's nails. It looks horrible. Okay, and okay, perfect. Okay, so after that, we are going to deal with the ears. Hold on. There we go. Perfect. So this is going to be for your ears. So what we're going to have to do is, how do I explain this? Your ears are a bit too big, and we're going to fix that. You know, it's just something that we're going to have to do if we need to get death off of you, if we want to get you to that triple digit age. Like, that's really just something that's going to have to happen. Now, what we're going to do is, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to pinch, and then I'm going to twist and rip off. And now don't worry, because you're here, we're sort of in this nether space, you're not going to feel any pain. However, once you leave this place, it might start to bleed profusely, and at that point, gauze helps. And you know, gauze, alcohol, anything to sort of numb the pain and to clean out the wound is going to be very, very helpful. And if it's still sort of going strong and not great the next day, take a look at the goodie bag that I sent you. Okay, so give me one ear. Yep, this is okay. Great. So just okay, and okay. So just a few pinches, right? Just coming down the ear. It's just the excess, right? I'm just getting rid of the excess. You don't need this. Okay, and then I'm just gonna grab and twist. Yep. And then pull it out. There we go. Now other side. See, no pain at all. Okay, so over here, let's do that again. So just twist. Okay, sorry. Not twisting yet. Pinch, pinch, pinch. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to grab, I'm going to twist it. And pull. Great. Wonderful. Just take the little leavings. Do you want the pieces of your ears back? Yeah, of course. I can put it in like a little jar for you. Some people like to take it home just as sort of like a memorabilia. Some people sort of pass it on to their grandkids and whatnot, but it's really up to you. Okay, I'll do that totally. Okay, and then the last thing is, in terms of the things that are growing a bit too large, it is going to be the nose. Now, do not mistake me, big noses are beautiful. I love big noses. But this is like, think about your grandparents, right? I know they're ancient, right? But what I mean is that your nose is one of those things that just continues to grow, and we want to make it supple. We want to make it like nice and young. It's a young nose, right? Sort of like you're going from sort of I'm a big boned nose to I work out at the gym nose, like sort of thing. I'm turning you into your nose now works out at the gym. That's what I'm going for. And I am going to use tweezers for this because remember, we're just trying to remove the excess. We're not trying to change the shape or sort of identity of the nose, right? So, and how this is going to work, of course, is that once I do all of this, I'm going to take out all of the excess. It's much easier than the ear, to be honest. It's not going to bleed profusely, but I do have something else to do with the nose afterwards. So just be prepared for that. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to just pluck, 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 pluck. Yes, I'm just plucking away small bits of the nose here. And it's really, I have this theory, that snot is just the spirit's way of saying, of like being sort of hypocritical to your life choices, right? They disagree with your life choices. And so whenever you have a lot of snot, it ends up being, you're doing things that your spirit sort of disagrees with. The snot ends up hardening and ends up pushing out your nose a little bit more. And that's why it just like consistently grows, because most people are not in connection with their spirit, right? So, but obviously I know that. And I have no snot, so. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna go just a few controlled spots here. You're doing wonderful. You're doing really great. Okay, perfect. Okay, now that your nose is now sort of a bodybuilder nose, it's hottest nose in the town, what we're then gonna do is we're going to move on to a little bit of oil control pore strips, right? Pores. One of the things that is immediate giveaway for death. Death looks at you and they're like, those pores, time to go in the grave. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to give you this whole box, but I'm going to put one on your nose and in certain areas where your essentially where your pores are a little bit obscene. And, if you have any blackheads, we're also going to that's going to be one of the things that we're going to have to deal with. But this is just for the future, right? Because if you don't come by next year on your birthday, what's going to end up happening is that death is going to find you again because pores end up filling up, right? And most of the time, a lot of people end up saying, oh, you need to use some form of acid to try and like shrink the pores. No, don't do that, because that is a dead giveaway. You know how some people say that when death is coming for them, they can smell lemons. That is basically the acid that people use to try and remove their pores, right? It's just no person that naturally doesn't have any pores is gonna like linger with that scent, right? So of course that makes sense. So what we're gonna have to do here is I'm just going to grab this and I'm just going to put it on you, okay? So opening it up. There we go. Okay. So like that. Okay, now stay still for me, please. Okay, perfect. How does it feel on you? Good. Let me just, I'm just spreading it. Okay, there we go. It's on your pores. It's going to stay there. Keep that for at least a few days, because what it's going to do is it's going to grab all of the pores and it's going to go in and like really grab the roots of it, right? It's going to be incredibly painful. I'm not going to lie to you. It is going to be incredibly painful. And I only say that now because I've put it on you and that you can't take it off now. So that's just how it is. Okay, now. Oh no. Okay. Don't worry, but I am seeing the threads of fate sort of tie themselves to you. That is the precursor to death. You should have come a little bit earlier, but don't worry. This has happened before. What I am going to have to do then is I am going to have to snip the threads of fate. Now, this might remove some potential futures for you, but those futures might, it's a numbers game, right? I might remove some potential future where you like cure cancer. However, I also remove the future in which you die. So, it's sort of it's a balancing act, right? To achieve the selfish desire of living forever, you do need to give up on the selflessness of discovery and helping humankind. So I just need to grab, so there's just going to be a few threads of fate that I'm going to snip now, okay? So just stay still for me. If you move, I might snip more futures away and I might lead you towards your untimely death. So you need to stay very, very still, okay? So okay. Now I can see this thread right here. Yep. Okay, perfect. Now there is a thread sort of tangling with your arm here. Can you feel it? No, you can't. Yeah. See? Okay. And then just right there. I see this. Okay. Okay, and then right here. Oh my God, it's going around your neck. Okay, yeah. Let's just... There we go. And... Okay. And then I'm just going to... I see a few futures here, which are... They're a little cringe. So I'm just going to snip them away. There you go. You're welcome. Okay, so now we've sort of done a lot to get rid of the stink of old age on you. I'm sure you feel a little bit more refreshed, a little bit more youthful, a little bit more young. So, we're not all doom and gloom here. We do end up wanting to help make you have a good time. So, we do want to have some of the embers of what like celebrating a birthday is like. So what I am going to do is I have a lighter here. I just need you to blow it out for me and we'll just pretend that it is you blowing out candles on a cake, okay? We can't actually have you blowing out candles on a cake because that would be a dead giveaway for death. So let's see. There There you go. So if you can, just blow it out for me. Perfect. Good job. Next, normally a lot of people end up getting jewelry for their for a lot of like different anniversaries and different like holidays, and for their birthdays sometimes jewelry is involved, but jewelry, like, ironically, is not a very good indicator for death, and so it's not going to trigger any alarms for him. So what we're gonna do here is you're gonna have your pick of whatever you want. Okay, so I do have here. So this is just a lot of different jewelry that we have. This over here. These are sort of nickel testers. I didn't ask you earlier, but are you allergic to nickel? Okay, you are. That, well, you know what? That's okay. Some of these do have some nickel in them. However, I know which ones they are because we did test them, right? So, I would say, so like you can get this like little cat earring if you would like it. That's like a really good one. There is this earring. It is a little busted, but it's an earring with like 2 little yellow stars. And what this is going to really give off is a very youthful vibe, right? Like, you're going to give off the vibe of like, oh, I actually, I got this at like a thrift store. I didn't really, it was an OG find, that sort of thing. You can also go for this really nice wooden ring. It's very, very nice. But one thing that I would recommend is that if you're going to go with jewelry that's wooden, you could give off hippie vibes, and that is very old. So you don't want to do that very often, but I think it could work for you. Okay, and little donut. We could do like a little moon here. If you can see it, I don't think you can. We don't fix eyesight here, so. But yeah, so whatever you would like, I can give it to you. Okay, yeah. I will set that aside for you, and it'll be all good. Okay, and the last thing, which I think you will enjoy, we do have a little bit of celebratory tiramisu. It is hand-baked here in the store in here. And I'm just going to have to feed it to you, right? Someone feeding you food is very hit or miss when it comes to alerting death. Either it gives off baby, like you've just been born, and therefore you are, in terms of dying of old age, you are far away from that. Or it can give like very old and, you can't feed yourself anymore. So throughout all of this, I have noticed that you likely will give off, or you'll be closer, especially with all the things that we've done, you'll be closer to the baby, right? So I'll be able to give this to you and just feed it to you. So here, how about you try some tiramisu here? Celebratory tiramisu. Oh, there you go. Okay, perfect. How does that taste? It's great, right? Yeah. No, I can't have you eating it yourself because that's going to really ruin the stink that you have. So just a little bit more. And a little bit more. And there you go. How's that? Good? Yeah. Great. Wonderful. Okay, so you are good to go. You don't, death is not going to be able to find you just so long as you are careful about the things you're going to do next. Don't look at the bag that I've given you until tomorrow. Don't take the nose strip off until a few days from now, where all the roots of the pores are going to come out with it. It's going to be incredibly painful. And remember, you are going to be in excruciating pain because of the ear trimming. You will need some gauze, or you can just drink yourself silly and not feel the pain. And that's a very, very young person to do, So with that, you're all good to go. Yeah? Okay, great. Well, alright. You have a good one and make sure to stay away from death. Okay, then.